Hi there, welcome to Zookbinders. Today we're going to talk about designing wraparound covers. First, let's start off by figuring out the dimensions of our cover file. Go to zookbinders.com and scroll all the way down to the very bottom. Under Tools, click on Design Your Cover. Then click on Design with Cover Calculator. The dimensions of your cover file depend on a couple of album details. Select the album type from the drop-down. Then select the album size. For this demo, I'm going to choose a 10 by 10 album size. Then choose the number of spreads. Keep in mind that if you change the number of spreads in your album, you might have to make some slight adjustments to your cover file. I'm going to choose 15 spreads. You'll see three different sets of dimensions pop up. The first is Wraparound, regular. This is our luster book with the standard pages. Then the dimensions for a wraparound cover with a thick page luster book. And then the dimensions for a leather spine. Let's just do the standard dimensions. I'm going to open a new file in Photoshop and make sure that my file is exactly those dimensions. There are two Photoshop tools that are key to making a wraparound cover. The first are the rulers, on the top and on the left side. If you don't see your rulers open, you can go to View and select Rulers. If you have a different version of Photoshop, the menu might look a little bit different, but there will be a way in the menu to turn the rulers on. The rulers allow us to make guidelines. If you click on the ruler, hold it down and drag, you can place a guideline in your document. If you don't see these guidelines, you can go back to View, go to Show, and make sure the Guides is checked. The shortcut for this is Control and semicolon. How do we know where to place our guidelines? If we go back to our cover calculator and scroll down a bit, we'll see a model of where the guidelines should be in your document. You'll see that the wrap on all four edges is 0.75 of an inch, or 3/4 of an inch. And you'll also see the spine in the middle and the pinch on each side of the spine. Let's go back to Photoshop. First, I'm going to put my guidelines around all four edges of the document. I'm going to drag my guide, and on my version of Photoshop, if I hold the Shift key, you'll see that my guide locks about every 1/8 of an inch or so. So I'm going to go ahead and lock it on 0.75. I'm going to do the same thing for the top, 0.75. Now because our canvas is not an even dimension, it's going to be a little tough to figure out where 0.75 is on the bottom and on the right side. But I have a shortcut for you. Select the rectangular marquee tool. Start off here in the open space and create a rectangle that locks on one of your guides. Drag that over to this side and it'll lock on the edge of the document. Then, when you create a guide, it'll lock on that rectangle on the other side. That's how you know that this distance over here is the same distance as over here. Let's do the same for the top and bottom. Perfect! Now we have our wrap guide on all four edges. Next, let's do the spine and pinch guidelines. A shortcut to figuring out where these guidelines go is to follow this basic rule of thumb. Take your album size, in this case 10 by 10, so we'll take 10 inches, and then add 0.75 to that for your first guideline. Then I'm going to take my album size again, 10 inches, and add 0.25 to that for my second guideline. Then I'm going to use my rectangular marquee tool for our other shortcut trick to replicate those guidelines that belong on the other side. Now we're all done. We've created guidelines to show us where the spine of the album will be, where the front pinch will be, where the back pinch will be, and the wrap on all 4 exterior sides. Now we get to drop in our image. I already have the photo that I want to use open, so I'm going to take it out of my screen and overlap it like that. Then I'm going to use my Move tool, and I'm just going to drag that right into our canvas. I can adjust the positioning of the photo, and I can also change the size. Now this photo is great for a full wrap cover. What I mean by that is we see the photo on the front, it wraps all the way around the spine, and it covers the entire back cover. How do I make sure that my image is centered where I need it to be? I'm going to use my rectangular marquee tool. I'm going to select that distance, and then when I drag a guideline, the guideline will lock in the center position of this distance. I can do the same thing for figuring out the vertical center. Now we have plenty of room down here to add some text, or we can add text up here. It's really up to you, or we can leave the photo the way it is now. Here's what my finished cover looks like. It is best practice to leave a little bit extra room away from these guidelines for your text. Here's another example of a different wraparound cover design. In this case, my photo didn't quite stretch all the way to cover the back half of the book, so I added a black gradient. We do sometimes recommend black just because it'll blend in with the back inside cover of the book, but of course this can be any type of texture, color, or style that fits your album best. Once you're done designing your cover, simply save it as a JPEG and use that file to upload into our ordering system. For more questions, you can call customer service at 800-810-5745 or send us an email to customerservice@zookbinders.com and we'll be happy to help.